So welcome to the Master in Manhood podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about topical issues affecting men in today's society and how we can find practical solutions to those issues. Today I got my big brother, my mentor, Brother Tony. Welcome and blessed, sir.
Welcome.
Give him many thanks. Thank you for being here. Today we're going to talk about a positive role model in lives. So you once said to me that you have positive examples of parenting and upbringing, because a few of our other podcasts we've been talking about the negative impacts of fatherlessness and fatherhood and how that might have affected me personally and other people in different ways. You wanted to put a more positive spin on it and tell your example of a good grandfather, a good father.
Yeah.
So tell us how that impacted and influenced your life as a man.
Well, as I'm saying now, right, people have been showing this negative attitude, say homes have been fatherless, etc. But that's not always the case. I'm here to tell you that I'm an example of something positive, because not that I'm boasting or anything, but I've had an example of my grandfather.
Yeah.
You've had a stable home, grandfather, grandmother, his children, no outside children. Then I've had my father,
Yeah.
right? Father, mother, that nucleus family there.
Yeah.
And I'm a third generation where wife, husband, children.
Indeed.
Right. From my grandfather coming right down to my father, he have always taught me that as a father, a father should be a provider,
Amen.
a counselor,
Yes.
and a protector.
Indeed.
And they've also taught me that during fatherhood, it's always important to have a man around, a father around, because especially where a boy child is involved, because you can then, it's like an apprenticeship. You pass on that skill onto that boy, because it's a constant learning procedure, learning process now.
Yes.
I can see now where around society now where, you've got all these negative things, where my personal point of view is that it's just because of that male influence is absent from the home.
Right.
Because my sister once looked at me and said to me, tell me something, you were born in the Caribbean.
Right.
You came here at a young age.
Right.
You were educated in this country. You grew up.
Right.
But not once did the police ever come and knock
on your mom's door,
on my parents' door.
Right.
And says, how can you do that as a black boy growing up in this country?
Yeah.
My answer to her was just simply this: I was not scared of the police.
Right. I was
scared of my dad and what he would have done to me.
Indeed.
If
Indeed.
you had a situation where police come and knock, that would have been shame and disgrace
on the family.
Amen.
Indeed.
So I went on the street.
Yeah.
I kept my head above water. When I saw trouble, I walked away from trouble.
Yes.
I had my friends, but always respected my home because of their upbringing.
Because that's where that is.
Yes.
Indeed.
And the next thing, my dad, very religious man.
Yeah.
One thing he said to me, he says in the Bible, it specifically tells you, if a man does not feed or look after his own children, he's worse than an infidel.
Amen.
And that's always stuck in my head.
Yes.
So as an example, so I've always tried to, to build upon what my father has taught me.
Yeah.
So I've always had a male figure around me. Right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and because I've seen where through thick and thin, he's stuck with my mom.
Yeah.
The family's
or
there.
Your mom stuck with him.
Yeah. And we've been a tight family.
Yes.
And he's passed that skill on to me.
Yes.
Right? I'm not saying when you're in a marriage situation,
I
mean, things don't run as smoothly.
No.
But the skill is to be there to battle it out. Stick through thick and thin.
Yeah.
Father once said to me, listen, if you got an egg box, and it means that you and your wife has to go into that egg box, make sure both of you go into the egg box.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And now, in this day and age now, I can see where, because the father is absent, he's not at home, because you can't, pardon this colloquial, but fine voice can't grow a man-child. Yes?
No.
I can teach.
But that's also a really touchy issue. Yes, I had a conversation just this afternoon in a meeting with a sister who has a son, estranged from dad, and I said exactly the same thing to her. I said, I tried to be as diplomatic as I could. I said it's difficult for a mother to raise a man. Yeah, you're gonna raise your son, obviously, but you can't teach him how to be a man.
No, a woman cannot teach a boy how to be a man.
She agreed 50% of the way,
and vice versa.
And I had to, you know, kind of smooth around the edges and make her understand exactly what I'm trying to say. I said, sister, you're not a man. Yeah, you're not a man, so you can't teach him how to navigate and how to do manly things. You're a woman. So what you can do is nurture him, support him, love him, provide for him. All of these things you can do, and even some of those things are the father's job, because it's his dad's job to provide. Yes. And she agreed with that bit, but she said, oh, but women have been raising men for all of these years. And I said, yes. And look at all the problems we're having. Yes, because mom can only love and nurture and support, but she can't provide the discipline. Sometimes it's just a different narrative, it's just a different voice. So with my son, when he hears dad, he straight away,
because you need that balance.
You need balance, and I said to her, it takes a community to raise a child. So even if you take mom out of the picture, it's the same problem, right? Because who's gonna do the nurturing? Who's gonna do the loving? Who's gonna do those things?
Right, I've got 2 girls in my home.
Yes.
I can't teach them to be a woman.
No.
All I can teach them is what to expect from a man.
100%.
Yes.
And what your daughters always say, I've heard Renee in my house say, you know, I'm looking for a man that is like my dad. And my daughters say the same thing.
Right. And with me, I said, I want my marriage to be based exactly like how my father's marriage
100%.
was.
100%.
He was always there.
But that's your template.
Yeah. I saw how he navigate around things.
100%.
Yeah. And so I try to live and try to go beyond that.
Take it to the next step up.
So it's very important for you to have a mate. And I think the next thing is this. Society don't really help the male in this day and age now, right? Because now
oh man, this is a whole nother issue. This is a whole nother podcast this man is starting. That is a whole topic on itself, my friend. Yeah, so just touch on it.
Because what I'm saying is this, right? They don't really help because society makes the woman so independent that they're in a situation where they can't, they think that they can do things without a man around. Right. And that get rid of, they're so negative. Right. Now you go out there, there's no discipline inside of the home, okay? They go out on the street, they do what they have to do, and they bring the problems, come home. Look, if you have a strong family, that you will have a strong community and you'll have a strong nation. But when the negativity and breaks down inside of the home, when law breaks down inside of the home, it could become, you have a lawless society. A lawless nation.
So what you're saying is, what you're saying is that it's not wrong for a woman to be independent.
No.
Because we can't say that, yes, because we support that, we encourage that. What you're saying is that because women have had to be so independent and had to do so much on their own, and sometimes, not by choice, then you find that the law in the family has broken down because, there's a lot of negative connotations that come with single parent homes, and mostly in society, it's the woman that is always at home by herself.
And also inside of my home, when I was growing up, father was always there to be the disciplinarian.
Yes.
He was there to discipline.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
He was left a mother.
Yes.
He was the one who disciplined me.
Yes.
And to be quite honest with you, I used to get beaten twice a year.
Right.
But
that would store them up.
Yes, right. And he's never beaten me in anger.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
He would wait, and then when you least expect it, the man would say, "Come."
Right.
And things that I've forgotten.
Yeah. But wouldn't you say that that's a bit harsh? Because I'm just showing you the other side because people are gonna ask that question.
Yeah.
Right? So, you have a son and he's done something wrong yesterday, right? Mom's gone on, everything's fine, dad is fine, nobody said anything to him, or maybe you told him off, but you didn't beat him, so you left it alone, okay? So he's gone on and gone, all right, cool, everything's fine. And you know, at the end of the year in December now, when he's supposed to be getting presents, you're gonna go, come, you know, in January you did this, and this, and this, and this. Some people, I know particularly one person who's gonna say that's very, very harsh. Because really, if he's said he's sorry or whatever, why would you beat him again? It's done, isn't it?
Yeah, but the thing, he's never beaten me in anger.
Right.
Yeah.
Understood.
So,
but you still get beaten.
You still get the beating, yes. Okay. I'll still get the beating. But
I mean, that's a new one to me.
Right.
I've never heard that one before, but that's interesting.
But the reason I brought that up is because in this day and age now, you can't discipline your child now.
No, it's illegal to do
Yeah.
that. You'll go to jail.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So.
You can only take away the Xbox and the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what does that leave?
I had a mom on my phone this morning, and she said school called her up, because I mentor young boys. School called her up and said, oh, he's been really bad and blah, blah, blah. So they said, oh, you need to discipline him at home. And she said to the school, so what do you expect me to do? You've told me I can't beat him.
Yeah.
You've told me I can't do this, I can't do that. So all I'm expected to do is take away Xbox. What's that gonna do? So she posed the question to the school, because he's giving the school hell and the school can't handle him. Mm-hmm. They're saying, oh, is he the same at home? Mommy's saying, no, he's not the same at home. And the school is saying, oh, well, we don't know.
Is there a male?
There's no male role model at home.
Okay, there's no male at home, you see. So to me, if there was a male at home, that would have been, the nail would have hit the nail right on the head, would have been stopped there and then.
Yeah.
But because there's no male around, these children are just left to their own devices.
So what you're saying is, once you take the man out of the family, and because you had positive role models, like I myself, I had my grandfather growing up. I didn't have a dad, but my superhero growing up was my grandfather. Okay. My grandfather used to, and I've said this many times, my grandfather used to take me to the bush with him. I used to dig the ant hill, I used to plant the potatoes, I used to ride the donkey, I used to carry the water. You know, even when my grandfather was going to smoke weed, he would carry me with him.
Okay.
You understand? So I was with my grandfather all the time, and I used to see my grandfather come home. I saw how he took care of my grandmother, how he took care of the home. He used to go out and work on Friday. He'd come and put all the money on the table.
Yes.
And I said, see the Cassie, and he would take out his little $100 and then he'd go and drink and come back. Yeah. And that's how I saw, like, so when I was growing up, I understood what my role as a man was supposed to be. My grandfather took care of home. Yes. You know, so no matter what was happening, he was always taking care of the family. So he worked, you know, he used to wake me up at 4 o'clock.
Yep.
And we would go to the bush. This was before I had to go to school. And, you know, I would go and look the firewood for the kitchen, and I'd bring back the firewood. My grandma would cook breakfast, and I'd go to school. You know, so I had that positive, you know, role model as well.
Here you have a situation now. You discipline your child.
Yeah.
And then you've got the authorities now telling the child now that they can ring and complain.
Again, I've had mothers tell me exactly the same thing. They've threatened their children, I'm going to discipline you. The child has said, if you touch me or if you do anything to me, I'm going to call social services. They're going to come and they're going to take me away. You're going to lose your job. I've had, you know, mothers, not more than one mother, tell me that their 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 9-year-old. I have a cousin, her son at the time, I had a son. She had a son. He must have been 10, 11. And he actually, you know, his mother was disciplining him. This was in America anyway. And she said she was gonna call, and he said, no, I'm gonna call, and he called, and his mother said, all right, call him then. And he called him, right? And then the people then come to pick him up. He started bawling. I'm not going anywhere. It was too late. It was too late, and they took him, but you know, they ended up sending him back home.
Right. Even Monday just gone there. A lady, you know, saw her and she called me and said, listen, my son, I haven't had his father around. Is it possible for you to just talk to him and see how you can relate with him? Because I can't relate to him. She told me outright. I'm a mother. I can't teach him to be a man.
100%.
Can you talk to him? I said, no problem. I will do that for you.
Yep.
And she was so grateful for that, just to know that there's going to be a male figure
that he can
relate to. Because inside of his house, all this was just women to relate to.
100%.
You know?
100%.
So,
and you don't have the right example. So, you know, like you're saying, I want you to touch more on your experiences, like with your dad, especially, because what we want to drill down on is how fathers affect the lives of their children, of their sons, especially, because we're going to go and touch on daughters. I mean, you can come back, we can talk about raising girls and all of that thing, because I think it's important that we just don't focus on boys, because girls are important.
But with your father around, you can, you know, with he was there, grandfather was there, father was there, and you can see, you can lead by example. You can see how he would relate to certain things, how he was a priest inside of the home. He would counsel you, you know, and he was there to protect you, and he was also there to provide for you. And I've always modeled myself saying, I want to be like just exactly how my father has been around for me. That's how I want to be around for my family, you see. So my father's had a very positive impact on my life, you see?
100%.
Right, which I'm very, very grateful for. I
Thanks,
really appreciate the fact that
he was there.
He was there. My
100%.
grandfather was there.
100%.
He was there. Even when he left the Caribbean and came to England, my grandfather stepped in, and he was there.
Played that role, 100%.
And then when I came into this country,
he took over.
And he was there, right?
So if you had to give me one like standout experience you had with grandfather first, after dad left, like one story that you remember that you look back on and you go, yeah, that's how a man should be. Just one. I know there must be many.
There's so many, but I can't even think of anyone just really stand out, you know, because remember I was 5, 6.
Yeah.
But I know this is going to strain a little bit, but as children, we should always listen to what our elders say to us.
Yeah, 100%.
Because, no, this would have been my great-grandfather.
Right.
He was telling me that his parents were actual slaves.
Right.
Yeah?
Right.
And he was there because he wasn't born a slave, but his parents were slaves.
Were slaves, yes.
And they were giving them first-hand experience of what used to happen.
Right.
And he was telling me, but it just went in one ear and out the other because slave, you know.
Yeah.
It's only after you get a certain age,
yes,
you realize, hang on, this man was telling me this.
He was giving you knowledge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Giving you some gems.
Right.
Yes.
Now, coming into this country now, there's your father's been there, and I can't really think of anything outstanding, but I just appreciate the fact that he was always there, and because I knew that he's a disciplined, not say a dictator or anything like that, but I know that because of his presence, and you appreciate who he is and what he stands for, I would just keep out of trouble.
Yeah, you told the line.
Yeah.
You told the line.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I could, many a times I could go out in the street and I could
do your thing.
But,
yeah, but even if you did your thing, you wouldn't let your dad know. You'd come home. You'd be a good boy.
I'd do it half. No. Because you don't want enough. You don't leave no paper
So you don't
trail.
step out the line at all.
No. Just it's only when you become a teen.
Yeah, but that's when you have a proper dad at home, though. Yeah, but nowadays, and I appreciate that because I'm similar. So with my girls, I'm very similar. So if I remember my daughter had an issue at school, she was getting bullied at school, and her mother knew, but they didn't tell me. So it got to the point now where her mother couldn't handle it, and this is how it generally goes. Yeah, so it gets to the point where mom's trying to deal with it, she can't deal with it, then that's when she tells me, and everything is gone too far. So I heard about it, and straight away I'm like, what? So I called up the school principal. They're like, no, you can talk to the class teacher. I said, no, I want to talk to the head. And then I sent an email, a strongly worded email, and straight away I got a call back literally 15 minutes later. And then I set up a meeting with this head teacher. And I said to the head teacher, before even the meeting, my daughter found out that now I'm involved, and And she went to school and she said to her teacher, she said to the girl, she said, please don't make my dad come down here because my dad is crazy. If my dad finds out I'm in trouble, he's gonna knock somebody out. Please. And she begged them. I got to school. I said to the head teacher, if you want a problem, let me hear one more time that my daughter is being bullied. And it never happened again. Obviously, I was very diplomatic. You know, I had a conversation with the mother of the girl that was bullying my child. And I spoke to her as a lady. I didn't threaten her at all. I just made it clear that, you know, your child is not allowed to bully my child. And I made it clear to the school. I said, I leave my child with you for X amount of hours. And for you to put my child in trouble, in harm's way, means you're putting my child at risk. And you're responsible for that. And, you know, it just never happened again.
Similar incident happened. My daughter was at primary school, the eldest one, Renee. And there's one particular boy kept bullying her.
Yeah.
So she came home, she told me. So I told her what to do. I won't tell you on camera.
Yeah.
But I told her what to do.
Just kick him somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then just run to the nearest adult.
Yeah.
And then just...
Which is right. Which is right.
So, and then he won't touch you again.
Yes.
So she told me that she did that, but he still come and attacked her. So I said, okay, leave it with me, no problem.
Yeah.
Didn't tell my wife anything because she's a school teacher.
Yes, she's gonna stop you from doing what you're supposed to do.
So I took my girls,
yes,
took them to school.
As
normally, normally I'd take them to the gate and I'd leave them. But this time, the bell went. I said, come, we're going inside.
Yeah.
So we went inside to the place. I said, Dad, it's time for you to...
Yeah.
I said, no, it's all right.
Yeah.
So I stood there. I waited for them. They lined up, the children. And I went and I stood in between the two teachers.
Yeah.
And I said, you boy!
Yeah.
Come here!
Yeah.
And the teacher said, oh my gosh. So same time, this teacher, Mr. Riley, I said, keep out of this.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I had a pencil in my hand.
Yeah.
And I pointed to my daughter and I said, you.
Yeah.
This is my daughter. If you ever touch her again, you see this pencil? Yeah. I snapped it into him. I'll snap your head off your body.
Yeah.
That boy peed himself up there and then.
Yeah.
And from then, everybody respected me. Nobody touched my daughter from there.
100%. 100%.
But
you do know that's called intimidation and all sorts of other things.
I was complaining to the school.
Yes.
Nobody did anything.
Did anything, which they never do.
Within half an hour of this incident, I said, it's funny.
Yeah.
You people, you're calling me now.
Yes.
So I went in and I saw the deputy. I said, I don't want to see the headmaster because he's too soft. When I saw the deputy head, I said, listen, I apologize. I said, what would you do if that was your child? Mm-hmm. And that was it.
Yeah. Right? And that's the thing though, as men, as parents, men, one of our responsibilities is to protect our family. Yeah, so you have your daughters, your son. You can't allow people to bully your children, you know, and that's part of having that positive image of a man, positive image of a father, grandfather, great-grandfather. Yeah. So you had it coming straight down the line. You had great-grandfather, grandfather, father. Yeah. So you had all the examples, the positive
There's always been a male figure there.
Yes.
And always been a positive
and they defined your identification of what a man is. Yeah. You can clearly identify your role through your lineage. Your great-grandfather did it, your grandfather did it, your father did it. So now you've come and you've continued that trend. So your daughters now have, you know, this is the kind of man I want for my husband. Yeah. You know, and if he don't match up, then he can't be your husband. No, which is right. You know, my daughters said that to me. I didn't even ask them the question. They said, Dad, if I don't find a man, my eldest daughter is 16. Yeah. And she said, you know, the problem with a lot of relationships nowadays is that they don't have no examples. No, and she's 16, brother. So I sat there and I was like, wow. And she was proper schooling me on what a relationship should look like. Mm-hmm. And she said, I have a proper example of what a man should be, and it's my dad. And if I don't see anybody, a man like my dad, then it's okay. I'm happy to be alone, you know? And it's vital, like what you're saying, that the most important thing is to have positive role models as fathers growing up.
And because of that, you know, as you know, I'm heavily involved in the church and that, and because of that, I take time out to actually spend time with the boys.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So they always have a male figure around
100%.
them, somebody that they
100%.
can look up to, somebody that they can
100%.
talk to.
100%.
Right?
100%.
So that's how it is. Yeah.
Well, brother,
Yeah.
it was a blessing.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much for coming and sharing your wisdom with us.
No problem.
And thank you so much for watching the Mastering Manhood Vibe. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share these videos. Press that notification bell so you can get a notification of the next video when it comes out. Until then, blessed love.
Peace. Bye.